Apes and apettes, welcome back to the channel. AMC is up 0.14% today, so it is a positive day, pretty muted overall because the markets are having a pretty muted response to the jobs report that did come out today. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about next week and the big catalyst that is next week that's going to move the markets around a lot. We're also going to be going over some news around AMC. I'm not sure everybody's seen this, and if you have not, we're going to talk about it here in this video, as well as go over the typical things that we do. Take a look at the short interest, the option trades that institutional investors are placing on AMC today, the Stonko tracker data for next week, as well as the 13F filings that are coming out for the hedge funds and institutions. So if you guys find value or simply entertainment out of this video, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what is your price prediction for next week. Now, getting straight into this, I do want to just quickly acknowledge the fact that we're finding a lot of support around $15 per share, give or take 20 or 30 cents. Yes, we're slightly under 15, but you're not seeing a full-on butter is what it's called under 15. It's kind of staying around that $15 average price, and I think this solidifies that you're pretty much at your fundamental valuation. And we know we have good earnings or good numbers coming on earnings here in the next couple of weeks. So I think if you're looking at this, like how low can AMC go, unless something crazy happens in the marketplace, I think you're at your worst case scenario. Could it go to 13, 12, or 10, or one of those price ranges? Sure. Is it going to stay down there? Absolutely not, in my personal opinion. Now, as far as the charts are concerned and the actual technicals, some technical factors, obviously we do need to break out above 1850 before we even talk about breaking out to about $20 per share. So that's the most important level. All the 50, 100-day, and 200-day moving averages are way up here in about the $30 range. And then the 50-day is at $24.54 per share. If we do pull up the MACD, you're bullish on the MACD, so that looks good right there. AMC's actually seeing a little bit of a pop right now. And if we do pull up the Bollinger Bands, we do have to break out above this 20-day simple moving average right here, and that's at $18.10 per share. Good thing is it has been coming down as the price of the stock has stayed relatively flat around $15. So it's going to be easier to break out and see an explosive move once we do get that. Probably earnings report will cause that, but that'll be good once we do break out above that 20-day simple moving average. As far as the volume for the day, it's only 12 p.m. at the time of recording, so we're about halfway through the markets, give or take, today, and we're only at 14.5 million shares that have traded hands. So you're certainly not seeing too much buying. You're not seeing too much selling as well. I think there's a lot of dry powder on the sidelines, and people are holding on to their money to see which direction the markets choose to go in. So that's going to make everything a little bit more explosive. Now, as far as the job report is concerned, this is a bad thing for the markets. The markets, as soon as this came out at 8:30 this morning, the markets sold off on this. Just absolutely straight down. I believe the S&P and NASDAQ were down about 1% at the lowest point. We have now since recovered, and now we're up about 0.62% on the NASDAQ at the time of this recording. Well, actually 0.79% at the time of recording. So that's looking good. But overall, payrolls gained 467,000 jobs in January despite the Omicron surge. And the labor force participation rate has went up. And these are key metrics that the Fed looks at when determining what course of action they are going to do as far as raising rates, letting the balance sheet run off, and so on and so forth. So this doesn't give the Fed any reason to slow down the course that they have set out about raising rates starting in March, letting the balance sheet run off, which also increased the interest rate. So in that aspect, not a great thing, not great news that we've seen today. Now, as far as the news for AMC that I'm not sure everybody's seen, but it's actually this. So AMC secures $950 million bond deal in bid to pay down debt. And it does say that they initially planned to sell $500 million in bonds, but they actually did sell $950 million in bonds. And they are going to, it says the new bond will carry an interest rate of around 7.5% and extends the maturity by 4 years to 2029. So they got the maturity of these bonds pushed way out, so that's good, until 2029. And they're paying off the 10.5% interest rate bond. So that means they effectively refinance their debt from 10.5% to 7.5%, saving themselves 3%. So at 10.5%, that is unmanageable. At 7.5%, that's a little bit more manageable. So that's a big reason why investors are relatively bullish about AMC over the past couple of days. Even though the markets have been up and down, AMC has stayed pretty much flat. And you're still seeing shorting the stock, though. I don't want to throw that fact out the window because the short interest is at the highest levels it's been since June. Right, 21.68% short interest of free float, 111.25 million shares that are currently sold short. Cost to borrow max is going up quite a bit. Now it's at 3.54%. So it's going to cost a little bit more for the hedge funds to keep their short positions open. As far as the share utilization, you're looking at 80.16% and the days to cover at 2.54. So all of this looking very, very bullish, if I do say so myself. Now, as far as the Stonko tracker data for today, you're seeing about 15,000 calls that are in the money, 165,000 that are out of the money. In the money puts at 23,000, out of the money puts at 72,000. Now, if you're looking ahead for next week, we only have 3,600 puts or calls that are in the money, 65,000 calls that are out of the money. We do have puts that are in the money of 40,000, puts that are out of the money at 22,000. So even though there's not a whole lot of call activity for next week, there is a lot of puts that are in the money. So if we do see a big move to the upside and we can really start to break out to about $20 per share, you're going to see a lot of de-hedging from the put side, which means market makers have to buy stock to de-hedge those puts, and then you will see the price of the stock move up. And then obviously as the price of the stock moves up, calls will run from out of the money into the money. So potentially you could see a little bit of market maker buying power that does head into the stock next week, but I wouldn't hold my hat to it. Could be an added bonus. Now, I don't want to get lost in the sauce here. I do want to go over the option trades that institutional investors are placing on AMC for the day. You see one put trade that's worth 57,000. You are seeing 3 call trades, one that expires today, one that expires February 18th, and one that expires January 2023. For $273,000, $50,000, and $35,000. So the amount of calls today is about 75%. The amount of puts about 25%. There's only been 4 institutional orders so far, but from what we're seeing today, it does look very encouraging. So that is good. As far as the actual 13F filings that are coming out, yet again, looking very good. Institutions are by a majority holding on to their positions and even adding to those positions. Not any of the big names yet that are out, like Citadel or Renaissance Technologies or BlackRock. Those will be coming here shortly, I would imagine in the next week or so, give or take. But you are seeing some very encouraging things as far as right here. I think it goes to show for itself. You're seeing a 329% increase to KBC Group's position. Toronto Dominion Bank added to their position 42.91%, now sitting at 101,000 shares. So as far as that is concerned, looking very bullish. I'm very bullish when it comes down to it. I think upon earnings, you could see a big rally because of this simple fact that a majority of stocks, not all stocks, but a majority of stocks are priced for their worst case scenarios, AMC included. This thing has fallen from the mid 50s, 60s to 15. That's priced for a worst case scenario. When earnings come out and they're not all too bad, that's why you're seeing these big rallies like Snapchat. We hit some monster trades on Snapchat in the buy and sell alerts, link down below in the pinned comment if you guys want to be a part of that. But they rallied over 50% today because they were priced for their worst case scenario. Same thing with Amazon, same thing with Pinterest, same thing with a lot of other stocks. They're just priced into the ground. But if they're not priced for perfection, like Facebook, like Ford, they go down 25% for Facebook, 10% today for Ford. So you're really getting this give and take situation that's happening in the markets. If stocks are beaten down heading into earnings like AMC, they are tending to rally after earnings. If they are high heading into earnings, they are tending to fall. That's the pattern that I'm seeing, and that's why I do expect AMC to rally upon earnings. So that is your intraday update. Stay tuned to the channel for the end of the day rally. We're going to talk about a little bit more what to expect for next week. The big key is going to be inflation readings that come out next Thursday, February 10th, and that's going to move the markets dramatically. So hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, check out the pinned comment down below in the top comment. If you guys want access to all those trades, that is how you do that. We called out the Facebook puts, the Snapchat calls. We've been hitting a lot of monsters trades. Not financial advice, not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, but if you need that level of guidance, you need somebody to answer questions, whatever you need that for, that is available to you. So love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.